Good evening and welcome to the Nighttime Heat rated on Prime FM 105.5. This program is also being streamed live on our Nighttime Heat Facebook page and, of course, our Nighttime Heat YouTube channel. Just tap Nighttime Heat either on the Facebook page, your Facebook page, or your YouTube channel if you're in the diaspora. And, of course, you're going to watch the show and enjoy tonight's edition. Also, we are streaming live on Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Again, Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. We want you to share the show, share the live video so that your friends, your relatives, your loved ones, your partners can also follow what's happening tonight on the program. My panelists, I'm sure they are coming in gradually, although David Benedictus Erasmus Namwitawe is always, on time. I know Edwin Formula is on his way shortly. I'm sure we'll be joined by Moses Sandy. I know George Kennedy will not come, not may, but will not come. He's still under the weather. We're hoping that he can get well very, very, very soon. And of course, tonight we're going to look at major discussions. The debate still continues about the issue of harmonization, and so tonight we'll be having a discussion with two individuals, one current assistant minister and a former assistant minister, and of course we'll be discussing and dividing the discussion into three compartments. First, we want to look at the payroll situation before the harmonization. What was the payroll then? And of course, we're also going to look at the achievements of harmonization. What really triggered the harmonization? Its effect. How did they prepare our people? How did they expose them to suffering and difficulties? We're going to look at that as well. And can the harmonization be reversed as indicated by the current Minister of Finance? He spoke well and he said, well, we are trying to reverse it. In fact, we reversed it in some areas of the government. We'll talk about that when Benedict Koluba and Assistant Minister Henry Yankwe join us. They'll be joining us at 8:30 tonight. And of course, we'll have that discussion. After they've left, we're also going to talk about, the Said Town demolition, story continues to unravel new information every day. And so we'll be looking at some of the information that we are getting, whether someone is fronting. If so, who are they fronting for? We're going to talk about that as well. And of course, if time permits, and I'm sure time will permit, it's the Unity Party on a former president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. It's the same as the Unity Party on the current president, Joseph Boakai. We're going to look at that tonight, along with the panelists as well. But in the meantime, let's try to open the lines. Let's avail you the opportunity. I know there are a couple of things on your mind. We would like to do this so that we can get your take on what is burning on your mind, what is of interest to you, so that you can just share with our people. Is it about the ongoing roads construction? Is it about the yellow machine? Is it about the economy? Is it about the health condition? Is it about what is it that is troubling your mind, or what is it that is of importance to you that you want to talk about tonight? Let's hear from you. And of course, we announce the numbers 0778-460-793. Again, let me announce the number 0778-460-793, or better still 0886 050507. Again, 0886 050507, or our alternative line 0776 540-987. Again, 0776 540-987. That's the numbers to call and to alive on the Nighttime Heater tonight. Again, the numbers 0778 460-793 or 0886-050507. If you have anything on your mind that you want to talk about, just share with us tonight, and of course, we all can, talk about it. And it's about our dear country, Mama Liberia. Nobody should be left behind. In discussing the future of the country. Let me take this first caller quickly. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my name is Emmanuel. I'm calling from Johnsonville.
Let's hear from you, Emmanuel.
Okay, I have something on my mind tonight.
Mm-hmm.
What is my mind is concerning this citizen ID card issue.
Okay.
This citizen ID issue happened out there for 8 months ago. And now, when we go there for the citizen ID card, they say they not issue citizen ID card. When we go to register our businesses, they accept our money, and they will say they put issue citizen ID card, we got voter registration card, or our lesson is not, they say they're not accepting it. Then how are they want us to survive this issue? And they are not issuing citizen ID card. That is what my mind is like.
Okay, many thanks. I think that's a valid concern there about the citizen ID card issue. I understand that was put to a halt after the noise popped up about the rolling out of the process. Let's announce the numbers again: 0778-460-793. Again, 0778-460-793, or better still, 0886-050507. Again, 0886-050507, or this alternative line at 0776-540-987. Dave, let me welcome you to the program quickly. How you doing?
Thank you, Sabot. Good evening, Sabot, and good evening, everyone, mainly our listeners. And our colleagues in the diaspora, Moses and Prince Crippler. I guess they are on or they're getting ready to join us. So, to extend my greetings to all of them, and also to extend my greeting to George Kennedy.
Okay, let's go there and take this call up quickly.
Recovery.
Okay, let's take this call up quickly. Good evening.
Hello, sir. My name is Francis.
Let's hear from you, Francis.
My attention is drawn to some street pictures that have been observed in the past time. Most of them, they use those minors, some 7-8-year-old kids who are dancing and performing different, gymnastics, especially during school hours in the street, especially in the rain belt. What is the police doing? Are there no laws to restrict these people from using kids and abusing them in such manner? What has happened to the gender ministry? So this is something that I've been observing, and I thought to bring that to the attention of the public and the authorities who are concerned.
Okay, many thanks. 0778-460-793. Again, 0778-460-793, or better still, 0886-050507. Again, 0886-050507. That's the numbers to call, and you are live. We want you to speak your mind, to just be civil. Don't use invectives, but speak your mind. What is it on your mind? Is it the ongoing, development, a program of the government? Is it not going well? Is it about the economy? Is it about education? Is it about the security? Let's hear from you. Is it about the drug situation in our country? We have a couple of things to talk about, and as a people, as a country, we need to talk, and talk until our country can achieve what it wants to achieve. Let me welcome you, Edwin Famula, to the program.
Thanks, Mr. Josh. As always, I'm glad to be here again tonight to give our people the information that they need.
Okay. Again, the phone lines are still open, 0778-460-793. Again, 0778-460-793, or better still, 0886-050507. Again, 0886-050507. That's the numbers to call, and you are live on the nighttime heat. Let's hear from you. Good evening.
Evening.
Yes, sir. Your name again? Okay. Oh, he gone off the air. 0778-460-793, or better still, 0886-050507. Again, 0886 050507, or our alternative line 0776 540 9887. That's the number to call, and you are live. Want to hear from you? Open the airwaves for you. Want to hear from you? What is it that you have on your mind that you want to talk about? Is it about our country? What is it on your mind? We want to hear from you because often, sometimes we talk until at the close of the program we don't hear from you. So this time around, we thought that it was quite necessary to open the lines for you at the onset of the program, so that you can be able, to express your views. You can be able to say what is on your mind and just be civil. Don't use any sort of invectives, and of course, we're not countenance that. Rather, we'll countenance our civility in our discussion. Again, 0778 460 793, or better still, 0886 050507. Again, 0886 050507. That's the numbers to call, and you are live on the nighttime heat. Tonight, we'll be looking at a debate between two individuals. Benedict Koruma will be joining us, former Assistant Minister at the Ministry for Finance and Development Planning, and Henry Yankwa, who is the current Assistant Minister. We'll be looking at the issue of harmonization, the debates around whether it can be reversed or not. And of course, we're going to look at that from three compartments tonight. And also, after they've left, the panelists, they always have their own time to discuss about Liberia. And of course, we'll be looking at a new development, new information, popping out of the demolition. I think the president also spoke about the demolition exercise, or the eviction exercise, the military-linked eviction. Let me try to qualify that very well. The military-linked eviction exercise, where people around in the 72nd community barracks have been removed. The president said something today. We're going to look at that as well. And of course, tonight, if time permits, we're going to look at the ruling unity party. Is it the same under President? Is it the same as it was under President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf? Or is that some major difference? Because we still see some who worked in the former Unity Party, for former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, still working this Unity. But are they proceeding like they proceeded during the 12 years of the Unity Party? We'll be looking at that tonight as well. 0778 460 793. Again, 0778 460 793, or better still, 0886 050507. Again, 0886 050507. That's the number to call, and you are live. Let's try to welcome Moses Sandy quickly. Moses, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Saba. It is good to be here with you and the people in Monrovia. It's always a pleasure coming. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay.
And for our team in the studio, let me say thank you for the good job you continue to do.
Okay, so we'll have 2 minutes to take calls by
Something's playing in the background.
Moses, kindly check your bag. We're hearing some terrible sound from there. Okay, I think that's been sorted out. At 8:20, we'll post calls, and of course, we're going to talk about some issues that are threatening our minds as panelists, and then instead we'll join our guests. Again, we're still taking calls. We got 4 minutes to take calls. 0778 460 793, or better still, 0886 050507. Again, 0886 050507. We want to hear from you. What is on your mind? What is trending? Is it about the ongoing development program of the government? Is it about what is whatever it is? What education? What health? Whether it has to do with security? What a drug situation? We want to hear from you. You are very important in the public. When we hear from you, it's like we are hearing from people who want to see their country move forward. Again, 0886 050507. No, gone are the days for no one who say, "Oh, for me, I don't have anything to say," or that. No, because if you don't, and the government comes out, or some policy decisions are taken, they will have a reflection on you. You know, the knock-on effect. You also go through it here. Whether it's a bad policy, it will pepper you. Whether it's a good policy, you're going to benefit from it. So, you know, it's time that we all talk about our own country. You know, what are things are going well? Or what are things are going wrong? Let's talk. And that's the reason why we sought to just give you the opportunity. You got 2 minutes, give you the opportunity to hear from you. What is it on your mind about your country? Liberia belongs to all of us. Gone are the days that we took arms against each other. No, we're not going that far anymore. What we're going to do now is to talk and talk and talk until things can get better. We talk and look for the real people. If the real people are not around, we can still recruit, you know, until we can get the real people to move our country forward. So that's the essence of opening the lands for you, to hear from you. So what is on your mind? What is, you know, popping? What is of interest to you? What is of importance to you? I want to hear from you so that, you know, you can tell us, you know, what you think about, you know, your own country. Let's take this call on the line quickly. Good evening.
Good evening, Sober John.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you.
This is Emmanuel Jumbo, and I'm calling from Zimbabwe and this tonight.
Okay.
I want to appreciate your show. The last time I was the one that called and said the role of the black guy in the black role, and there was a lot of way to get him. I did the hearing and clear the place today. I did rush open now.
Okay.
I just called to rely on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. And this is essence of opening the lines to all of you, so that you can be able to speak your mind. You heard him. He said, well, just starting a day or two ago, he called and he raised the issue about that roads being closed by the contractors, you know. And at the end of the day, he said, well, I think yesterday or today they went there and opened the roads. You know, that's the essence. We want you to speak, because we know we have leaders who got listening ears, you know, got leaders who will listen to the people. Because as a leader, if you can listen, then you are heading for dome. It's good to always listen. 0778. Okay, very, very shortly. We're not taking calls anymore. We'll have to just talk about basically what is threatening on our minds. And of course, Moses, let's begin with you quickly. What's on your mind? What did you come with?
Yeah, look, quickly, Sober, I want to speak to a very critical matter which is currently obtaining in the country. I want to speak about the ongoing legal battle between the Liberian government and the Cloud Foundation. And the focus of my discussion is going to be on the recent visit by former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and today by Polo County Senator Amara Corney. Senator Corney, you know, is one of those who champion the cause of holding people accountable in our country. Mr. Sirleaf was in the news today that, hey, there has been a hike in the problem of corruption in the country. He wants to see people held accountable. The Liberian government is currently in a legal battle asking for accountability. In the wake of that, someone who claims to be a champion of holding people accountable opted to visit the foundation. Someone would say, well, an accusation is not a conviction. Yes, it is true. But the optics, the political optics, the drawbacks, the disadvantages, that could suggest that, look, because you went there and she lauded Cloud and the foundation for the good job they are doing for the young people of Liberia. Don't get me wrong. The vision for the establishment of the City of Hope Academy is very good. Sober is a very good initiative. However, the government is only wanting to know where did the money come from? $4 million was invested, reportedly invested in the establishment of this foundation. And the former president going there to applaud the initiative while the government is prosecuting. I see that as undermining the effort of the government. I see the visit of the senator as also undermining the effort of the government in holding the Clark Foundation accountable. All they're asking for is, hey, tell us where you got your money from. We have concern that public resources were misdirected. This is what really bothering me.
Okay. Thank you, Moses. Dave.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday we had a topic that we didn't touch, but I'd like to speak on it. The former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf asking President Joseph Boakai. I think the sound is still in the background.
Yeah, Moses, I think you have to check your background to Moses. Or let's mute. Let's just mute. Yeah.
So former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf encouraging President Boakai to initiate a constant meeting with former President George Weah and other key stakeholders. But I'd like to particularize Mr. Weah. And the question is Mr. Weah interested in having a meeting with President Boakai, or Mr. Weah interested in working with President Boakai in harmony in terms of uniting the Liberian people? I will cite few examples of, to me, President Weah, his lack of interest or willingness to work with President Boakai and the government or cooperate one way or the other as a former president. For example, when Liberia was campaigning for a non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council, President Weah, former President Weah, declined to be part of that campaign. When the July 26th Independence Day celebration came, President Weah also declined to attend, but his former vice president attended. So many other public events that even foreigners came from, presidents of other countries came, and we had other programs. Joy Howard to attend the Independence Day program, President Weah did not show up. So to me, what's on my mind is to tell former President Sirleaf to first begin with President Weah, former President Weah, asking whether he is willing to, harmonize things with President Boakai, let them work together as former leaders. You see President Sirleaf everywhere, she's there. All the public functions, she's attending them. But George Weah is not attending. So to me, the division in this country, to me, is being fueled by Mr. Weah directly or indirectly.
Okay.
That's what's on my mind.
Right. That's what's on your mind.
Well, again, for me, what is on my mind is the issue of this Ministry of Labor. I think I stormed on a video where there are a group of people that were demonstrating within the NEMA belt for benefits or something. I think they work for ArcelorMittal. And that speaks a volume of our labor sector. Because if people in the private sector are demonstrating people in the governance structure, because in fact, even I think some nurses again today were again demonstrating. So I think the Ministry of Labor inspectorate arm need to get out there and start visiting these areas or so, these concession areas, also going to some of these state-owned enterprises and see what is the treatment of employees. People's rights have been violated vehemently by these authorities, and nothing is being done about it. These people just sitting in the offices, and the Decent Work Act called for an inspectorate department of the Ministry of Labor to be able to go out there to find out what is happening in these workplaces. I think they need to activate it and start looking out there so that they can be able to protect these employees who are agitating for better wages, for better working conditions, and so forth. That's what on my mind.
Okay, so let's try to pick from Tagbe and Moses concerning what's on their mind. Tagbe, you made a very strong statement trying to blame former President we are.
Why you want to comment on what's on my mind?
No, but I mean,
that's what on my mind.
No, we can comment and we can discuss it. You're trying to blame me for whatever division that been fueled in the country, and I think I do differ with you. Yes, it may be true that on several occasions he was invited to attend public events and he didn't show up. But I want you to also go back, Tagbe, to issues that happened between the government and former President Weah at the time, when the government just took office. There were on numerous occasions that the former president had traveled and trying to return, and he was restricted, prevented from using his own post facility that he built.
Reportedly prevented was prevented. No, they get the English correct. Reportedly prevented because I guess you have not done anything.
Let me speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
Reportedly, you want me to use the word? Reportedly prevented.
Because when you
reportedly prevented. He was prevented from traveling, from using his own post facility. But the point of the matter is that for a serious tension between the CDC at the time and the government, and that was never resolved. In addition to that, there's been a number of issues that happened between the CDC and the current administration that has not been resolved. But if one will yield to former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's advice, I think that person should be the current president because he's the leader of the country. If an opposition politician feels somehow unhappy and maybe doesn't want to cooperate, it is incumbent upon you to ensure that, look, this country now rests on my shoulder. If there's any division, I will take the blame. If there's unity, I will take the blame. So let me try by all means. And that's the reason why the former president Ellen Johnson said, he put it on the lap of the current president and said, look, you take the initiative. Get to those opposition leaders, including Mr. Weah and other national leaders. Let's try to rebuild a synergy. Let's try to rebuild a unity to move the country forward. Tagba, if you are the head of the home, a lot of responsibilities are on your shoulders. Now,
are you done now?
No,
because I get problem with your justification. The same.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because first of all, it hasn't been proven that Weah will ever stop at the airport from using any.
This
has been reported. No, give me chance now. No, somebody. That's the problem. That's the problem.
We're bringing this conflict. That has been reported on several occasions.
So that has been reported doesn't mean that.
And to be sad, when even it was raised,
you took 15 minutes.
When the allegations were raised, the government didn't come to say, okay, it's not true. The government didn't deny it. The government didn't deny it. So that created
sometimes silent misconception. Sometimes not commenting doesn't mean that it was true.
No.
So then the question I want to ask you.
We have our guest.
The question I want to ask you, but let me ask you the question.
Go ahead.
Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is a former president. Alexander Cummings is an opposition president, is an opposition politician. All of them use that airport. Anytime Ellen Johnson Sirleaf travels, she travels through the airport and returns through the airport. No noise. Alexander Cummings, as an opposition, travels through the airport. No.
What are you trying to insinuate?
No noise. But only Weah is coming, then there's noise at the airport.
So you manufacture allegations?
So these things they need to be totally investigated. I don't think that government deliberately ever stopped Weah from using anything over there.
All right. I think that's the essence of
so the justification is very poor. So
okay.
I disagree with that.
I know you disagree. I disagree. Moses, you want to chip in quickly so that we can try to bring our guest on.
Yeah, look, I just wanted to chip in quickly and beg to default with my brother David Tagbert. He continuously used the word reportedly.
Thank you.
He lives in the country.
He lives here.
You need someone to do the research to bring you the evidence. The man can the presidential loan was closed. Prior to arriving in the country, he asked to use the facility, and he was denied. And you want people to say reportedly?
That guy is acting as if he's not in the country.
Don't talk about you live in the country, and reaching out to the former president, Weah and the others, like Sobo said, that should be the initiative of the president.
Surely.
And this president, even people would rally around him when he needed them. When was the last time you ever heard a meeting with Bernard Ure, Alexander Cummings, and others from the opposition to say, hey guys, let's sit around the table and have a conversation about the future of the country? Never.
But the last time Benedict and Alexander Cummings and President Weah and President Walker were at the airport.
I mean, it was coincidental. Being on the football field, it was coincidental. The man went by himself.
So what are you being fair?
Sandy,
Yeah,
Sandy,
let me stop there.
let's try and welcome our guests.
I said disagree with all your things.
Always disagree.
I disagree.
We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it further. Let's try to welcome our guests quickly. Our guests are online already. Former Minister Benedict Koluba is former Assistant Minister at the Ministry of Finance. Let's welcome you, former Minister Benedict Koluba. Welcome to the program. Kindly on mute. He's not around. Okay, let's try to welcome current Assistant Minister Henry Yankwe to the program. Mr. Minister, welcome.
Thank you, Sobo, and greetings to you and our listening audience, to Makori Benedict Koluba, and to all the panelists here. We are glad to be here to provide information as required.
Okay, so I'm sure the former Assistant Minister is back, right? Okay, let's welcome in former Assistant Minister Benedict Koluba. Welcome to the program. Kindly unmute, Minister Koluba, former Assistant Minister. Welcome to the program.
Sobo, thank you. It's good to be on your show again tonight in the cause of the Liberian people to demystify some of the myths and provide fights to the Liberian people about our governance system. Let me say hi to my friend and brother Yankwe, the Assistant Minister, and your other panelist or interviewer. I'm glad to be here. Let me say thanks. Good afternoon or good evening to all the Liberian people who are listening to us. We hope to have a good show tonight.
Okay. So listeners and viewers, if you want to watch the show online, just tap Nighttime Heat on your Facebook page or Nighttime Heat on your YouTube channel. Maybe you are in the diaspora, and of course, going to watch the show online, and you're going to follow the show. Besides, we are also streaming live on Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Again, Prime FM Monrovia 105.5. Today we are discussing the issue of harmonization, and of course, our discussion go into will be in three compartments. I'm sure tonight the issue of the payroll situation before the harmonization and its attending consequences, its achievements, if at all there were any achievements, and whether the harmonization can be easily reversed. If so, how can that be done? That's the discussion tonight. And of course, after which the panelists, after they've gone, they are here for up to 9:45. After they've left, then the panelists can also do their own discussion. Now, let's begin with you, Mr. Benedict Koluba. Give us an idea about pre-harmonization looking at the payroll at the time, and let's get an idea from you. Just drive us through that so that we can understand.
So thank you, Soba. Thanks to the Liberian people. I think you lay out the show very clearly tonight. Because before you talk about reversing or talking about harmonization, you need to know where the country was. And our country policy, when you fall down, don't blame the place you fell. Look at the place you stump your toes. And so generally, as for opening, I can say to you, the current Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Minister Agosi Gafwan, and let me lay some premise before I go forward. I will, with due respect, and with no sense of disrespect to him, throughout the show, I might interchangeably say Gafwan, Minister Gafwan. If I say Gafwan, I disrespect him. It's just a fast communication. I just want to state that I had a lot of great respect for him. So he served as the first director of the Budget Bureau at the youngest age in the cabinet in 2006 when Madame Sylvia appointed him. And then the role of the Budget Bureau back then was to formulate the budget. It was responsible, it's almost like the budget department of the Ministry of Finance. But then it was also approving allotments and so forth. And then he rose from there and became finance minister. Throughout those periods, there wasn't a national payroll system. So I can arguably, technically, policy-wise, is the massive payroll system that CDC inherited was under the leadership of Augustin Pehe Gafwan. And what was that payroll system? If you Google right now, there was something developed called the mid-term, the MTEF, medium-term or payroll strategy. It was developed on George Wisner in 2014 as a result of the massive payroll system that we had in the country. And within that payroll system, there were 3 pay systems. One, there were a group of public workers that were on what we call basic allowance. And those basic allowance were primarily in Liberian dollars. Regardless of the change in the US rate or not, they were paid in Liberian dollars. There were another group of people that were favored, including my colleague Henry Yankwadem. They were paid in allowance, but it was getting US dollars. The third group of people were the political appointees. They were paid in what we call general allowances, and they were making strictly United States dollars. In that system, there wasn't a pay grade system. In that system, the staff or the workers were not uniquely identified through any biometric means. That system ran up to 2018 when CDC took over. Within that system, the government didn't feed that system because the donor partners were doing projects. They were involved with development projects in the country. So the role of the government resources by then was just to collect and maintain the government. And so they didn't see it as an issue. However, the CSA strategy identified as an issue and developed a roadmap on George Wisner. Now, Wisner or Warner? They call him Warner? George Warner, who was the CSA boss.
CSA.
Yeah. So everything I say here, if you can find his number and call him, he will admit that during that regime there wasn't a national payroll system. So generally, that was the kind of calamity we had in the country. As a result, the general allowance was at the discretion of the ministers. So ministers will decide how much to give an individual on the general allowance. As that result, the Ministry of Finance, now, let me see how the Ministry of Finance, let me start and tell you how the Ministry of Finance came in. So when they developed the maintenance strategy to now revise the payroll system, then something jumped into it. In 2012, Madam Salim, the Union Party, decided to do what we call the AFT, which is the Agenda for Transformation. But earlier on, they have done something they call the Vision 2030. In that Vision 2030, there was a proposition, and you can call Minister Amara Kone. He's my witness on that. You can call Dada James Colley, who was the head of the ARDC at that time. The proposition was that Liberia will be a middle-income country by 2030, and to make Liberia a middle-income country, you should be able to. There should be a GDP per capita of 1,030, like the arrest agenda has done. To make that happen, each public worker should be paid at least $1,000 minimum. So on the basis of that, the Ministry of Finance was now government reform or merger was taking place. So they decided to pilot it with Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. So what happened?
May I just suggest, Mr. Minister, Mr. Koluba, we are working within a time limit. If you can just summarize.
No, if you give me a time to speak,
that would be helpful.
Give me a time. Okay, so let me give me a time.
Thank you.
Maybe you can give us time on particular subject and say 2 minutes, 3 minutes. That will be okay also. Okay.
Yes, so you are trying to form the basis, your introductory remarks. So I think just a few seconds so we can go to your colleague.
Okay, so on the basis of that, Minister of Finance pay was tailored around the proposition of making Liberia a middle-income country. So a director in Ministry of Finance was making $3,250, while a director of Ministry of Agriculture could not even make $500. Ministry of Finance, NIC, Ministry of Gender, they were not on CSA payroll. They were on that kind of enrichment of allowance. So that whole payroll system was messy. No grading system. Everybody take their own pay. And only those who inherit education and internal affairs were on that basic salary. Some of them 5,000, some of them 8,000, some of them 20,000, 25,000. So that was the dangerous foundation upon which or necessitated the harmonization process. So,
okay, so
yes, I can say that for you to understand that before harmonization, there wasn't a pay grade system.
Okay, fine. You said that already. Let's hold you there. Let's hear from you, Assistant Minister Yanko. What's your understanding of the situation before the harmonization? Because I'm sure you were in government at the time.
Thank you, Saba. When I saw your invitation today, I was compelled to accept, even though of our busy schedule. Just to inform you and the listening public, I was elected today as the chairman of the West African Monetary Zone. I'm just from chairing that meeting. I will chair until the 8th, and I'll continue to be chair until next year when another country will be hosting.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. Let me ask my brother one question. Did I hear you say George want to introduce MTEF system in 2014? For clarity, please.
I said the CSA developed a million-term strategic plan in 2014.
Oh, okay.
And by then he was the boss of CSA.
Thank you. That is okay. So I was in government at the time. We were in government before the CDC government came in. And the primary reason for which they introduced a harmonization process was because they blotted the payroll. For our listening audience, blotting payroll means you employed unnecessarily with insinuations the government had money that do not have end. You will agree with me in 2018, 2019, citizens were choosing their jobs. When they see you in a community, you work somewhere in government, and you are living a very good life, they say, we want that job. In the Ministry of Finance in 2018, ask anybody, we have something called TBA and TBD. Every morning we go to work, we are worried, meaning those who sat in corridor where financial transactions were ongoing. You will receive an email to tell you TBA or TBD. TBA means to be arranged and TBD to be determined. So if you get TBD, you are in a worse situation. If you get TBA, you are in a difficult. You are in at least a minimal difficult situation. There was a payroll system. There's no country that will run without payroll system. That is even unimaginable. Which country run? You have civil agency, you have institutions, and you have no payroll system. Then how will people take pay? There had to be a system. We had the civil servant management system that was working, the CSM. The guys broke that system and brought in their own system that they could manipulate anyhow to pay anybody. You will agree with me that the IMF have to intervene to get people out of the central bank. Because all the people that carried majority of them were directors. You had director for flour. For example, in Samuel 12 office, you had a staff for beauticians. I know we're doing beauty pageant in the building. So after they employ, they brought the payroll, the IMF advised, go and restructure your payroll. Because in real terms, the pay was very high. We as economists at the time, like I said on the show the last time, advised, look, don't cut people pay. The only government official at the time who said don't cut people pay was Eugene Fagon, Honorable Eugene Fagon. In the meeting, when we said, look, we can do some research and study to bring policy recommendation in that can help us to raise revenue, because the higher revenue we raise, the lower the compensation in real terms, the percentage will reduce. Honorable Minister at the time, Samuel Doe told us in our meeting that the government was not a clever government. That the president was a street smart president. We keep our ears, they will run the government street smart way. And that is how we kept quiet. And they started to cut people pay.
You said Samuel Doe said that.
He said that harmonization came in two forms. You had the financial harmonization and a fringe benefit harmonization. What do I call fringe benefit? All the benefit you get as an employee. They sold all our bosses. We now have boss to carry out to work. They took out our insurance. We don't even have water to use in our ministries. We have to buy water. So even the NASCOP withholding, they were not paying it. So you are making us poorer. That affected homes and what have you. So today, gradually, we are removing harmonization. And the reason why, you see, they will always tell you, remove harmonization. They know the problem, the cost. When the CDC took over, the payroll at the time was 298 million. You can go to the budget online. Don't put me. They recast the budget, 17-18 budget. They recast it. They recast it at 307.8 million. The actual amount they spent on our line was 307.4 million. So you're talking about 9 million plus they added to the payroll. It is that amount they were accounting for to address when they decided to cut people pay. And he said it right. How do you move on to middle income country? You will carry about the pay up the same day. It's a gradual incrementalism.
Okay, so let's go there. Let's go there, Minister Yankwa. Let's go there. So you are saying to us tonight that the CDC administration actually introduced the harmonization exercise because of the bloated payroll they had at the time, right?
Sure. Sure.
Okay. Now, Dave, you want to come in quickly? End of them. Okay, Moses.
Yes, I just want the assistant minister, Henry, to help us understand something here. I heard you talk about the we administration came in and allegedly bloated the public workforce. They brought in more partisans from the CDC. And my question to him is that does he not see the same problem in today's Liberia? Is the UP now bloating the public workforce? When you came to the leadership of Liberia, the workforce was approximately 70,000. Don't you have more than 70,000 people in the public sector? Explain that for us.
It is not allegedly, because we were here when we saw the IMF demanded that the people you employ at the central bank, you should get it out. Another fight you want to look at, if the budget had compensation line of 298 million and you took it to 307 and you did not increase salary, it means you employ more people. That is simple arithmetic. Nobody said don't employ. And the last time I said it here, I said there's a difference between putting people on payroll and job creation. They are never the same. And just allow me to give you this example. If you build a medical facility and you hire an HR management company that go about, do the analysis and tell you you can employ 15%, including security, PA, and what have you. That is the analysis. If your good friend Henry Yankwe came to you and said, look, my wife is a medical practitioner, employ her. Brenda Kodba came. My daughter is here, employ her as security. After you finish employing, when you add people on your payroll, you are blocking that payroll because you are not having a revenue base. So what you want to do when you got a patient enrollment, you can now employ additional persons. But if you keep on employing, assuming you employ additional 10%, you now have 25. You will not be able to pay them. You now have a medicine for your facility. It will eventually break down. That will happen here. We cannot even pay our public buildings because the payroll was giving a tough time. So to come back to the issue to say we are employing, yes, we are employing because we are involved with more investment, more economic activities, more than the did. The roads, the kilometer of roads we are building, people are doing celebration of roads. So when you have a huge investment in capital expenditure, it also have corresponding recurring activities, and that also include employing people.
Okay, but so let me just piggyback quickly. Mr. Minister, the public workforce there we're talking about, we're not talking about short-term employment. We're talking about long-term employment. And you have cleverly avoided that question.
Let me come out.
My question to you is, are you telling us that when you came in, you also did not bloat the public workforce?
No.
You took over with 70,000. In today's Liberia, you live there, I don't. Your recurring expenditure is more than 80% of the government's budgetary allocation.
No.
Which also includes salaries.
No.
Listen, which also includes salaries. Are you telling us that you did not bring in more UP people? Just say yes or no.
No, come here. This is the first time in Liberia we are having our budget at 23% expenditure. That's one. Look, let me tell you what harmonization did. When you have harmonization in this country, most professional guys either resigned or went out of country or went back to school. In my case, I went back to school. So you had people being employed in places and never had the skills. And let me give you this example. There were no security assigned to assistant minister in the Ministry of Finance before. But because you have so many security, and government don't want to just fire them because they're also Liberians, not because they were employed by the previous government. They are assigned to us. In the past, when you are appointed, you go with your own driver. When you carry a driver, you already met drivers there. You had drivers, we now have cars. You had drivers with no cars. So that's how the system became messy. You have people on the payroll that could not do the job because professional guys left. You have people just out of school that became director at the central bank. Those are all the reasons why the IMF said, gotta get you guys out of the system.
Okay.
No one knew what they were doing.
Okay, Mr. Minister, let's hold there. Let's hold there, Mr. Minister. You're listening to the Nighttime Heat tonight, and of course, our guests include Assistant Finance Minister Henry Yankwa and former Assistant Finance Minister Benedict Koluba. You can again, follow the show online by just tapping Nighttime Heat on your Facebook page or Nighttime Heat on your YouTube channel. And of course, you're going to watch the show. We want you to share the show, share our videos so that your friends, your relatives, your loved ones, your partners can also follow what's happening tonight. I'm trying to understand this whole harmonization issue. Now, Mr. Koluba, let me come to you. First, you started the issue of massive payroll. But your colleague said that the reason why you introduced the harmonization and you brought on tolls to the people because you brought up your payrolls. You put everybody who are part of the I would say you put them on payroll. So apparently that's the reason why. How do you react to that?
So some of the last time I was here and I told you that, I'm sorry, I might take break from your show because I like we come to this discussion as professionals who fight with evidence, documentation, not on the basis of our instinct. I sent you 2 reports. So if you're calling Moses, you can share with me to read portion. But you can share with Moses. Moses will read that for us. Or I share with you, get a screenshot of portion of that report, which I want to read. When we took over in 2017, in 2018, before we took over, the USAID had a project or program called the social impact analysis, something like that. They have already hired that entity to do a payroll evaluation of the government before the CDC took over. They did that evaluation the whole of 2017, and the report was published in 2018, April. In that report, and on the template of that report, I shared something with you. They did a comparison of the government payroll. They say comparison of government payroll and salary payment versus allowances as of November 2017. This is not CDC period, right? The total number of gross staff across government, total number of graded staff. They got staff that were graded. So the payroll system was that some people were in grade, some people were not in grade. The total grade was 36,924. Those that were not graded was 33,823. The total number of people on the government wage bill was 70,747. So when I tell you that I was in the payroll system, I speak from records. I can't say, oh, they did this. You have that report. So what the USAID was saying is that government total work was 70,747. Out of that, only 36,000 were graded, 33,000 were not graded. And guess what? The total number for MFDP and CSA were around the amount, the salary they were paying for them were around, around 900,000 to 9 million per month. What they were saying in essence is that the payroll was not coordinated. Those greater ones, they were the one with CSA making Liberian dollars. The ungraded one, Yankwe will tell you, okay, I challenge Yankwe to tell you how much was his salary when he was assistant director. I went to finance ministry as payroll specialist. My salary was $1,350. By that time, no director in the ministry, in the government, was making $1,350, aside from Ministry of Finance director that were making $3,250. I started giving you story. When they decided to make Liberia a middle income country, they gave the 5 entities that huge pay: Finance Ministry, NIC, Ministry of Agenda, CSA herself, and Foreign Affairs. By the time they saw that huge wage bill, they could not continue across the 107 entity. So they stopped, and they could not reverse Ministry of Finance fee. When we took over and the USAID brought the assessment to us, what will happen now is all the donor loans, they only had left, no free money. You'll recall some of the donors were taking care of hospitals. They were taking care of the police. Only were taking care of the police. All those money left, the government had to take care of herself. But then now there was no space. All the government money was going towards recurrent salary expenditure. That was the basis for harmonization. And harmonization in that context meant one government worker cannot have 2 pay. You got general allowance and you got how they call it, basic salaries. Then another people will be making allowances US dollars. So to harmonize means to bring everybody together on one banner. They will have one employee, one pay.
Okay, let's go with that. Let's go with that because we'll be looking at the effect of the harmonization.
May have more time on that, please, Sobo. He have more time on that. You need to give
me more time than me. You have more time than me.
Let him learn, Mr. Minister. Let him learn.
More time.
Mr. Koluba, please, just in a minute, you can.
Yeah. The reason why harmonization came in was the United Party government, Honorable Minister Gafua, as director of the Budget Bureau and Finance Minister, they didn't have a standard payroll system. They had 70,000 workers in the government, and they have 5 entities. They were paying them $3,250 for director, and entry level $1,350. It was not sustainable, and the partners had left. All the recurrent expenditure was now on government. So we had to do for everybody on one payroll. I'll ask Yankwe. Yankwe tells me that when he was a finance minister, he was on CSA payroll. I will cut off myself from this show. I will never speak on this show. Yankwe tells me that I was in finance ministry, we were not on CSA payroll. I was in finance ministry, we didn't have national biometric system to identify on the national payroll system. We only have finance ministry ID card. Call anybody who worked for finance ministry before then. So it is because of all the irregularities, harmonization came to bring everybody on one system.
Okay.
Then we need to use the national biometric to identify people. Before we go to standardization.
Okay.
So, Mr. Koluba,
Minister Koluba, I'm coming to you. Edwin want to come.
So, my question to you, Mr. Koluba, we all were here, and some of us got affected by the harmonization. In as much as we work in the student enterprises, we step against it, and then later it was.
Where were you working?
I won't tell you, but we as employees of that entity step against it, and the management revised it because under the law you cannot cut somebody's salary. That is stipulated fact. Now, you want to tell us that when you did the harmonization, did everybody across the government sector, were everybody on the same part when it comes to payroll? Yes or no?
So before harmonization, there was not a standard payroll.
No, I mean after harmonization.
I'm coming in. This is the basis I like to say first. Okay. There wasn't a national payroll system. When we did harmonization, The legislature came in and said, you know why? This harmonization you're doing and putting it together, let's make a law so it affects everybody and call it standardization law. That means you put all the workers in a pay grade system and assign a salary to them. We did that. We got almost 9,000 jobs across the government, assign salary to them, and we agree that the highest pay for government director should be around 1,007, and no, for those special entities like Minister of Finance, they should be around 2,250. So then we took that as a framework and say, you know what? Let's take this now as the roadmap. Then we take each entity and plug them into that. So if Benedict Korba was a director, and then the pay grade now is that a director should make 2,250, and Benedict Korba is making 3,250. We will adjust Benedict Korba through standardization to 2,250. If Soba George is in agriculture ministry, because Benedict Korba is in finance ministry, we brought him to 2,200. If Soba George is in Ministry of Agriculture, and he's supposed to make 1,007, but he was making 500. Because of the space we had at the time, we carried Soba George to 1,000, for example, and say, Soba, as the economy grows, we'll be tapping all your money till you reach to Benedict Korba 1,007 before we can even start adding money to Benedict Korba. So what I can say to you is that the standardization brought in standard pay system, and we adjusted people pay up and down to be able to fit within that standard.
So the standardization, Mr. Former Minister, the standardization is the same as the harmonization, right?
Well, let me put it away. It's not really the same, right? The harmonization, everything came out and covered that nomenclature because of the noise, so we're not clarifying. The harmonization portion was one person should not have two pay. Some people should not be making US, some people be making like Brenda. Bring everybody pay and collapse it into one. However, there were some entities who didn't have two payroll systems. For example, Minister of Finance didn't have two payroll systems. Minister of Finance only had one payroll system. They say they pay you 1,350 and 1,350. They divide into two posts on like Brenda, put on US, that one pay. Because Minister of Finance, because CSA, they didn't have two payroll systems, they went on no standardization. When we did the framework and say, okay, even though there are some entities that are not having two pay system, we are going to use the framework of standardization to put them through. So when we put them through that standardization map, some people had to be adjusted. So in essence, and let me tell the listening public, standardization was the standard payroll system that everybody should fit in. Harmonization was, look, for everybody pay on one person can have 2-3 different pay. And you can have some people making US, some people making Liberian. This is one of the things harmonization did. And say, if you open the line and call Minister of Education, Minister of Health, there were some people who were only making Liberian dollars. It is this whole harmonization and standardization process that brought equity that all government workers should have access to both US and Liberian dollars.
But the fact of the matter is, Mr. Minister, when you did the harmonization, it dropped people's salary.
Of course.
That's the reality. That's a fact. And as a result of that, many people, were affected, and they experienced the difficulties and the hardship as well. But let's hold you there on. And
the question I want to ask, when we first heard about the harmonization, what we heard was that two persons with the same qualification serving as directors in different ministries and agencies were not on the same salary level. Some, though you qualify, like the Edwin who's at the Ministry of Finance, he's a director, you get a same degree, making $1,000. David Tagwe is at Information Ministry with the same degree and serving in the same position, but making $500. I think it was what we heard. It was the meaning they gave in terms of the issue of harmonization. But from what you said, Mr. Minister, on what basis did you harmonize? Were you harmonizing based on qualification, or what basis what measurement were you using before the people? Were you harmonizing based on people's qualification or because of their partisanship with the CDC?
Okay. So I can tell you that if you look at the report, CDC didn't even employ quite 8,000 people on the payroll. The payroll were already 70,000. But here's how harmonization worked. In the government system, you agree with me, the highest person in the civil service is the director, right? Yeah, you agree with that? The highest civil service administrator is the director, right?
Go ahead.
Minister,
Go ahead.
No, he asked me, I can answer. He can't answer me.
Yeah,
Of course, the highest civil servant is a director.
Very fine. So harmonization graded on the basis of position. So by that, we're not even looking at somebody need. We're not looking at whether you got PhD, whether you got WRD. As long as Sober George works with Ministry of Health, Minister of Health says Sober George is promoted, Sober George is Director for Curative Services. We set the system that by the time you put Sober George's name there and say Director, Sober George's salary is automatically given to him. The responsibility of qualification was left with the entity. So, for example, you the HR director, you advertising a director post. It was to you to say this director here should be master degree holder. And this is ironical, and I don't want to be misquoted on this. Harmonization was not going to assess people qualification. It was assigning pay to position. The higher position carry the higher pay.
So that means, Mr. Minister, sorry, Mr. Former Minister. So that is, you reduce people's salaries to accommodate others.
No,
is that
what the harmonization? No. Your question was, what was the basis, the standard for harmonization? Was it on qualification and this? So let's answer the question one by one. I said the basis for harmonization and pay grading was on position, and the highest position carry the highest pay. The highest position in the civil service is director, assistant director. However, if you are a Minister of Finance and your HR by negligence took Benedict Korba, who is a high school graduate, because harmonization is not there. Benedict Korba is a high school graduate, and he wickedly said that my friend and made Benedict Korba director. Benedict Korba will make director salary because the payroll is set on director. So the qualification scrutiny was with HR to say our director should be master degree holder. If you took a master degree holder because you hate that man, you made him janitor, the system will recognize his pay as janitor. But when the payroll comes, we'll query about how do you have master degree as a janitor? And they're giving the generic that the harmonization was based on position. The higher position carry the higher salary.
So, let me.
Yeah, come in.
Yeah, Mr. Koluba, just from listening to you, I am beginning to figure out that the policy or the law, the harmonization law, has significant flaws. I say it has significant flaws because when salaries are being set for positions, there are several factors that are considered. Take, for example, I have a master's in social work with 20 years working experience. If Mr. Sober went to graduate school instead of social work, and he graduated today, or Mr. George and I will not make the same salary because I have extensive years of working experience. I will earn more money than Sober George, even though we have the same academic credentials. And then when salaries, when salaries are set, they also take into consideration the tax that needs to be completed. Say you are a director at the Ministry of Information. You go to work and stay there for 3 hours because basically you are idle. You have nothing to do. But the director at the Ministry of Finance, this guy is working more than 10 hours a day. Very engaged. These two individuals cannot make the same salary.
So
That's how it works. So are you telling us that you guys just threw numbers at people without considering all of these factors?
No, harmonization exactly captures.
Let me come in, Sobo. I think you're giving Benedict more time.
Yeah,
but they are asking me now.
I'll let him to answer the question, and then we'll come back to you, Mr. Young.
Yeah,
let him answer the question for Moses. Let him answer the question for Moses.
So Moses, I told you the major basis for this harmonization was one fiscal space, irregularity in pay system. So you asked me, and I said the highest position in the civil service is a director. You will agree with me. Whether long-term experience or not is the director. Then we graded the directors in levels, as you get explained. We graded the directors in levels. Director got level 1, level 2, level 3, based on qualification, experience, and the rest of it. So we said, on the basis of the economy, all directors right now will go on their base salary. Eventually, if you ask them to get on the payroll, right, you will see a pay grade system throughout the government, about 9,000 pay grade system. But even as of today, you cannot pay those people based on that pay grade 100% because the fiscal space is not there. So I agree with you, and I'd like to inform you that yes, harmonization considered that update a pay grade. But harmonization at the point they didn't prove the resources they didn't provide means that people could be paid on the basis of that grade at different level. So we just said, you know what, at this point, let's take the base. Let our director make their base salary. As the economy improves, we start adding. So the responsibility now for this government is to implement the recommendation of harmonization. But it's still, and the reason why we are coming in is to say to reverse harmonization, it means you want to have
we're not coming to that now. We are not coming. We'll discuss that.
Okay.
Let's hear from Minister Yankwa. He wanted to come in.
So I will encourage you to even play Benedict's voice with his recent statement. And he said harmonization was based on position. And that is the message part of the harmonization. He said that on the show. He said harmonization. He said harmonization was based on position. And that is the messy part, the most messy part of harmonization. And that's the reason why
no, sorry. Let me interrupt you. I didn't say that.
Can you play the young man voice back?
No, the panelists asked on what basis salary was assigned.
Mr. Cover, let the man learn. You respond.
Okay.
Let me learn. Yes. And that's the reason why I said earlier on, they blotted the payroll. It was highly frustrating for us. So they bring one guy, he's a maintenance person, and he made mention of a high school graduate. He said, whether you're a high school graduate or not, once you bear the title director, they will pay you as a director. And that's exactly what the guys did. They would just call you maybe director of a flower, director of a this. People got frustrated. They left the civil service. So when we took over, you had enough people on the payroll, but you never had a requisite people on the payroll. That's an embarrassing situation they created for this country. They brought up people because they promised them when win election, boy, I don't want payroll. And that's one reason why they even failed to win election, because the space, that fiscal space. Now, the next thing you want to do, go to the 17-18 budget. When they recast, they reduce capital expenditure and increase compensation. Because they were just employing randomly and give you any position whether you're qualified or not. Most of the people were either director or assistant director. It became uncontrollable. The guy had no control. He talked about USAID financing some research or process. The GSC got a report. Go to 2022. They came across 9,000 plus ghost names. There were people being paid through mobile money that were never civil servant. He said we had 70,000 civil servant. There was no system How did he identify that he has 70,000 Silver 7? If you now have a system, you wouldn't even identify the number of Silver 7. When I got employed at the Ministry of Finance, I was working with on the IFMIS project. And at a certain point in time, we leave the ministry and go to CSA to work on the CSA management system because it was interfacing with the IFMIS system, where you had a payroll being put in the system. But before I close, I respect my friend for me, and I don't like to attack individuals. And earlier on, Ben said he wouldn't come on the show because you got people who can discuss issues, who can show fight, but we can go that route. We are constrained to come on public in debate with you, but you know you are not in the same league. He said it last time on this show.
So let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. Viewers, you can again share the videos. We have the former Assistant Minister at the Ministry of Finance, Benedict Koluba, and the current Assistant Minister, Henry Yampo. And of course, we are looking at harmonization. Its genesis, the essence of harmonization. We'll be coming to was there anything good about the harmonization? Did it in any way benefit our people? Or did the CDC administration just introduce the harmonization introduce it with inside? We'll talk about that. Benedict, you wanted to respond to your colleague. Then we can come to whether the harmonization was for our people or not.
So they didn't say harmonization was about director, or they didn't consider director. I was responding to a question from your panelists. How was the salary assigned during harmonization? I even asked Yankwe, who is the highest person in the civil service? He admitted is the director. And I said, the pay grading system was based on position. The highest position carried the highest salary. Fundamentally, that's the principle. You can't be the CEO of the company and somebody below you makes money more than you. The deputy directors have the same flat base salary, but some deputy directors will have experience more than the others, so they do incremental, but there is a flat base and say when you come here as deputy director, the least you will get is 2,000. So when they employ you, they give you 2,000. If your experience is 1 year, they add a 1 year experience and say maybe 2,100. That is what I said. And let it be clear. The other side is, you see, that's why I said, let's come with fight. And like, I'm going to come with the GSC report. Everything I said here, I have sent you the report, right? The GSC didn't say that they had 9,000 gross need. Stop.
It's published.
Stop that. The GSC said they didn't verify. Meaning, some of the people, they didn't turn up. Meaning, they didn't reach there.
They were ghosts.
When the GSC said that, the management responded and said, okay, send the report, they can your call and let it come. They went to ministerial complaint in the same GSC report. About 2,000 people came dead and they got verified. Yeah, I know we all want our side to win, to be in the politics, but for me, I said, let's come with fight. I got a GSC report here. I can just skim through while you read it and get copy that portion and give it to you. Sabo,
we're listening.
Yes, we're listening.
Yeah, so when I said let's come with fight, it doesn't mean that you don't know. But it means that you are get talking up here without giving any reference. As professionals, you write in a piece of paper, you give reference. It's easy for me to say, Finance Minister has employed people, or Finance Minister get brought in the payroll. How do I confirm that? For example, Finance Minister get published her newsletter. They say in 2025 to 2025, they employ additional 13 staff according to their assistants. I don't go look for internal paper. I look for what is published and I reference it. So the GSC didn't say that there were 9,000 ghost needs. They said there were 9,000 persons that were not verified.
Okay. All right, so let's move forward now. Mr.
Let me ask.
I'm coming. Mr. Benedict Kolba, your administration introduced the harmonization policy or whatever it is. Now, can you tell us here tonight what was positive, what was good about the harmonization that you introduced? How did they improve the lives of our people? What was good about it? Or did you just introduce it with hindsight? You don't know exactly what it would have cost. What was good about it?
Okay, so Sabo, why I'm telling you what was good about it, I'm going to send to you immediately the post-harmonization assessment that was done by the same USAID. Before we did the harmonization, USAID had already done a report, and I shared that with you. So when the harmonization was done, they came back and did assessment of the process. I guess share that with you can share with Moses. So you will read, and next time we come to the discussion, we all got fights.
What was good about it? I think that's the question. What was good about? What's the positive about the harmonization?
Yeah, I think that's because I'm speaking on reference. I get one talk off here. What was positive about harmonization? One, harmonization established a consolidated payroll system that was not in existence. Harmonization brought equity that all Liberians were entitled to both US dollars and Liberian dollar on their salary. It was not on the basis like usual that people make US and they don't make Liberian dollars. Number three, harmonization took away the discretionary authority from ministers and head of agency who will get decide and say they have something in the budget they call general allowance. It was above you to the discretion of the minister. The minister decided who to give it to in education, in agriculture, in health, everywhere. So harmonization took away that. Another thing harmonization did was it increased the pay of about 15,000 workers. Most of those people were in education and health, internal affairs. Another thing harmonization did was that it prepares, it gave hope to civil servants because the period that was set over the last 12 years of Union Party regime, civil servants were not paying what we call Social Security contribution. In fact, when GSC did the payroll audit, they realized that almost 40,000 employees, more than 40,000, I need to check the number, they didn't have national Social Security number. We didn't form the payroll, they formed the poor payroll.
But you just said that the United Party did not have a payroll, then how come, you know?
No, there was no standard payroll. I said that. You have people making Liberian, people. It was not a general pay system to say that, look, when you want the government payroll now today, you say you want the government payroll, you go to CSA, they will take one payroll and give it to you, everybody on it. One of the things I like to tell you also was that political appointees and civil servants were not on the same payroll by then. Please call me Hassan Kezulu. He was the last controller general for the United Party government. Political appointees were making 7,000, 10,000. That payroll was kept at the controller general office in the area they call treasury. Today, if the sweeper in Minister of Finance doesn't take pay, Minister Gafon will not take pay. But yesterday, Minister Gafon will take pay on the 14th or on the 12th. Civil servants had not taken pay yet. So anytime you hear today and say any ministry pay had delayed, that minister has not taken pay, except they have changed that.
Okay. Let me do a follow-up question, please.
Okay.
Let me do a follow-up. Mr. Koluba, I heard Yankwe also, the question coming out, Yankwe alluded to it briefly, that you were just paying people randomly through mobile money and this thing. People still believe that you were just throwing money out to people everywhere through mobile money. Tell us, how did the CDC derive at that mobile money payment thing, and how did you regulate it? Because it was just like the belief, the perception that people have, even up to today, is that people weren't working, sitting at home, sitting at tire center, intellectual centers, were receiving mobile money. Yeah, when more ends they receive the monies, even though they weren't working. I mean, that's a perception people still have since you left power. Tell us, how did you
So,
derive that mobile money payment thing?
okay, so before I answer that, let me ask Yankwa. Yankwa, do you still have mobile money unit at Ministry of Finance?
Yeah.
You don't have to
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
that
well,
question.
answer, yeah,
Just go
yeah,
ahead and answer the question.
How do what do you
Okay,
want? Yeah?
so the reason we came out with mobile money was the teacher in the PAPD, there was a target in the PAPD we talk about financial, under the financial inclusion strategy. We target that we wanted 50% of Liberians, at least 50% of Liberians to have access to some form of bank account by 2023. And that will happen in the form of using the traditional bank or the mobile money system or digital system. Now we also realize that those days teachers will abandon classroom just to go for their money to a bank. Because, for example, in Lofa, there are no bank, they got to go to Vujama. So since the telecommunication system created a banking system through the mobile money, we decided that we should be able to pay teachers and other people who are far off going for the man. It would take them their salary to go for their pay them through mobile money, and they stay right to their town and their villages. They find somebody to withdraw. So that's how the mobile money was introduced, and said, let's solve the problem of those.
Okay. All right. So let me
So
run.
the question, I'm answering the question.
Okay.
When we did that, before that time, people they didn't have national biometric. You remember, even you yourself, when you got your telephone number in Liberia, you didn't use national biometric. You use any ID card. So we say, okay, there might be a possibility that some of the people that on the payroll, they don't exist, they get numbers. So say we have majority of the people that were recruited before us, what we're going to do, we'll introduce national biometric. So that's why you saw the company, the mobile money company now requiring that they say know your customer, the guys want to Q something, KRC. So they require that anybody that using their services should be having national identification card. That was the way we were taking all the costs from the payroll. Because the payroll was the fragmented payroll was already over 12 years of United. So you can't tell me that we came in and just formulated everybody that on the payroll. No. So that's how the mobile money unit was established.
Let's hold it. Let's hold it.
And up to today, it is still there.
Okay, let's hold it. Minister Nyakwe, do you agree with your colleague on the benefits of the positives of the harmonization, because he cited a couple of benefits of the harmonization? Do you agree with him or different?
No. But let me first, before I go there, let me come to the mobile money unit you talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The mobile money unit at the Ministry of Finance had the highest number of staff of any unit in the entire country. It was an entry point to truly block the payroll. Look, if you want to pay through mobile money, you don't need to establish any unit for that. Payment through mobile money is an instruction from the Ministry of Finance to the mobile money company. So what you want to do, for example, Ministry of Education, give me your staff listing, or you go to CSA. CSA will pass through the Bureau institution, give me a staff listing with a mobile money number and a name. So you pay the money to the mobile money company, and then they will credit that money to the individual account, to the mobile money account. Mobile money unit have more than almost 200 staffs. They have one unit, Ministry of Finance. And then later on, they started getting them out and filtering them through other units and what have you. So that whole system was massive. And I understand the reason why you are giving Benedict more time, because he needs to clarify more things. So you give him more time. I understand that. And you wouldn't deny that my money have more than 100 staff. A particular unit, mutual finance. My unit had 13 staff. The macroeconomic unit that will do technical work. We have 13 staffs. 13. But they have more than 100%, almost 200 in one money unit. Harmonization never brought any benefit here. Look, let me tell you this. As economists, like I said earlier on, it is by economic activities employed, not by putting people on payroll. So the money the CDC government used to put people on payroll, if they were using that money to build school, to build health center, they will stay employed the same number of person. But they were under pressure from the sycamore tree. The homes got affected. People had loans. They reduced what you call aggregate demand in economics. Because if somebody who got qualified, well-trained, had 10, 15 years experience, had 2-3 master degree, you brought his salary lower, you employ other people, get out of high school, get in university, you say we'll pay you by position, you made a director and pay them, you get a guy frustrated. That person is living in an environment where he got other people working with him. He had gone to school. He must live in a secure environment. He got security. He got people working with him in his home. He got to fire the people. He created a problem for so many people. Look, since they could not win election in the finance building, even with the sedition they employ, but they mostly employ in 2018. In 2019, they harmonized. So the people you employ, you harmonize their salary too. So they were angry. And he know this. The Deputy Minister for Administration, Rebecca McGill, she had a meeting in the Ministry of Finance building to encourage staff to go and vote the CDC. They chase her out. There are guys who work in our government, like Benedict Cordoba. I will name some of them. Jessica, they can't walk in that building. For Benedict, to be honest with you, he's so hard tolerant. You can argue with him, even in our government, with the sport. He's so hard tolerant. But some of the guys, they cannot walk in our building today because people sleep in our place. You better know this. We're buying water to flush commode. I'm sorry to say this on the media here.
Okay, Mr. Minister, thank you. Thank you. Let's come.
They took our insurance. Death rate, the more staff that died in our 6-year period. They cancel insurance. So are our bosses. That's harmonization. That's harmonization. That's what they did. Now we are trying to by bringing people on. He talked about people in the area of education. You know how many volunteer workers we met that were not employed, that we are employing now? MCSS alone. You know how many were there that we are employing now? Do you know how many we met there? Voluntary health workers. The least salary we saw in this country after when they left was a guy from Roger, $55. His salary. $55.
So, Minister Yankwe, let me just ask Mr. Yankwe this question quickly. The Harmonization Act is a law created in 2019. And you cannot undo a law without going through a legislative process. The act provides for what? Increase in salary and reduction in salary. Help provide this clarification for us because I heard the Minister of Finance on the Class Reloaded. He said the ministry has already started.
We have the tape here.
Okay, yes. So maybe somebody want to play the tape and then let the assistant minister provide a clarification for us. Is it possible to undo this law without going through the legislative process?
So can I respond to what he said before we go there?
You can respond before.
The question not for you, Benedict.
So
the question is not for you, it's for me.
No, you said something.
But you said something that asked me. I was asked, not Benedict. So
No,
I'm getting
come
one
in.
quote from one.
Mr. Nyankwe, before you can answer the question, I want to play a tape here quickly. Let's play the tape and then you can answer the question whether it can be undone without legislature. Let's try to play this tape quickly.
I'm supposed to respond to something Yankwe said, please.
Folks
I
have
beg you.
gone to
Please.
take absolute numbers.
Hold the tape. Let Mr. Benedict Kolba respond. Respond to what you want to, please, just in a second.
That will respond
In
to
2
Yankwe.
seconds.
No,
No,
he
Benedict.
said a lot of things. So Yankwe, you know, for me, when we come to these places, all you have said is about finance ministry. I'm talking government-wise thing. And you come and say here, you say, I
Give
can't
me an
work in
example.
finance ministry. Get
Example. I'll give you an example.
Mama, you are talking, I'll give you a chance, Chief. I
It's
beg
my
you,
question.
Minister.
You're rushing.
Go ahead.
Can I
quickly.
Example.
Yes, go ahead.
So I don't like to be personal when I come to these discussions because when I work in the finance ministry, I promoted people who were not seditious. And don't force me to name people here. Veneta Kofa is an assistant director. She is not a seditious, she's a UP person. I went to my boss today and told her, I said, you know what? We have to make this lady assistant director because in the whole of division of planning, there is no female there in the leadership. I said, if it were on party basis, I'll go to CDC party and bring somebody. Today, she stayed there. Caesar Mason was an ANC boy. He left the office and go run campaign for ANC. I only told him, Caesar, he my chief of officer. And you know that very well. And you know me. I only told Caesar, when you go to ANC party headquarters, run your campaign. When you come here, they think George will say, we should do it. I can go on naming people who are stood for and promoted, who were not seditious. So we can't be dwelling on those things to incite people. Some of them insulting me today. I handpick people and gave them job to finance ministry. They are causing me today because you have told them to cause me.
Okay.
So
All right. So
one of the things is the judiciary was not even paying taxes. You know that the judiciary was not paying taxes. I went to your department so many times to work with you people personally.
I said you have to level of tolerance.
I can't work for that ministry. I gotta go to the project for your department.
Mr. Kolba. Mr. Kolba, please, let's start to get to the crux of the discussion now. Let's play the tape and listen.
No, if he's making those claims, you don't correct him. I try to come in, then you correct me. It's wrong. He's okay and made one against me that I can't work in finance ministry.
Mr. Kolba,
you want me to visit you tomorrow to finance ministry?
You only found me there because I'm a CBO doing the meeting. So
okay, when you're there, I will come visit you. And then you see other people will do, they will say, don't enter here.
Yeah, more welcome.
Let's try to play the tape quickly now. We have to go. Let's try to play the tape quickly. Let's try to discuss the cross down of this discussion.
You know, the folks have gone to take absolute numbers to say personnel cost should be 315 million per year. Okay, that was your ceiling because you had a smaller budget. Personnel costs as a percentage of the budget, usually they're, in budgeting, they're ABC rule of the thumb type of way. When personnel cost is around 30%, 1/3, sometimes between 30 to 40% is in manageable limits. When it starts to go above 40%, then you're running into problem. Usually it's personnel costs, goods and services, capital, or development expenditure in that range, 1/3. If you check, we have done, our personnel costs has gone up about 350 something. I think I saw someone trying to tag it. Should have been 315. Okay, 315. It was 315 because you had a smaller budget. We're talking about $1.2 billion budget, and you're talking about 315. So the percentage of personnel costs to the budget is manageable. The IMF has no issue with us. And let me say this. What we've been doing is we've been addressing this thing methodically, and we've been doing it sustainably. we do not take an action that will reverse from. So, and that would be worse. We are dealing with two things here. We're dealing with the legacy of the past. You all know the $3 million loan that the previous government took to pay for the last few months of 2023. Yeah, we are dealing with it. I mean, every year we put $16 million in our current budget to pay the loan. So think about that amount of money being available to us to spend on the current civil service or employees today. So we're dealing with that. But in spite of that, we are increasing pay. We're solving it methodically. Last year, 2025, almost 6,000 health workers benefited from pay increases. In total, in aggregate, almost 30,000 persons benefited from some form of pay increases. And I can tell you this, I don't like to talk too much about people's pay because some do not volunteer all the fights for their own obvious personal reasons. They might not have, you know why it means when people think that you have gotten increases. But because you're pushing me, I'll be pushed to say some things. We have reversed that word you use. I don't like to use it. You love the word harmonization. We have reversed harmonization at the LNCC. This year, this budget, 2026, harmonization is being reversed at the GAC. This year, this budget.
Talk again, Talk again clearly because it's been a clear contention.
We are moving gradually, we are moving gingerly.
Reversals are happening.
Yes. We are moving. It's enveloping more and more people gradually.
Okay.
Last year, as I said, about 30,000 persons across the government got some form of pay increases. It included police, it included army folks, immigration folks, and even for the police, we even took. One of the things was that they were paying for their own insurance. Government is now underwriting that, so our police officers don't have to take that money up. Do we say that we've reached the point that we want to reach for the police? No. No, we haven't reached there yet. But for some, like the judiciary, the Supreme Court bench, and judges, harmonization has practically been reversed for them.
Okay.
Magistrates have gotten significant increases. I think it hasn't been reversed fully, but
okay, so I've seen a statement made by the Minister of Finance. If one to critically look at his statement and be honest about the statement, it's about giving relief to our people. Initially, when this harmonization came out, it dropped people's salary. Now, if the Minister of Finance can say we've begun reversing, even at the Supreme Court, even at LNCC, what is wrong with that reversing harmonization, an exercise, a program that affected the economic life of our people? Let's hear from you, Koluba. Benedict.
Oh, now me starting?
Yeah, I'm starting with you.
So, with due respect to the minister, and I will say this to you, if you read all the documentation I have sent to you, anybody who says they will reverse harmonization in Liberia, two things happening. They want to continue the campaign cliche, because in the campaign you said you will reverse harmonization. So you guys want to keep saying it. Otherwise, you don't know the gravity or how dangerous the payroll was before harmonization. That's why you're saying that. And I can propose it, or I can hypothesize and say to you that harmonization is never reversible. The day Minister Gavin reversed harmonization in this country, the civil service will overthrow the government. Why?
What are you saying? Why would you say it's irreversible?
Listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
As in Niakwa gave me your information. I have sent you all reports. The reason I dwell on before harmonization is to show you how dangerous the payroll was. If you say reverse, it means you're going back. So what minister is saying is that he's going to carry ministers making 10,000, 15,000. That's what it means. What it means is that there will be two payroll systems in the government. Some people will make Liberian dollars, some people will make US dollars.
But you should know that.
What reversing harmonization means is you will have supplementary payroll in education where people will make 5,000 because that was the situation. So it is impossible.
So you say it's impossible. Let's hear from Mr. Minister Henry Yankwe. Let's get his version.
Mr. Sandy, let me come back to you because you asked the question first. And I just want you to just state what you said. I understood it very well, but I just want you to restate it because of the audience.
Okay. So it is good that we listen to the tape.
Yeah.
And the key word from the minister was harmonization has been reversed. That's the key word.
I want to hear.
Yeah, the act. He said, yeah, according to the act provides for what? Increase. The act provides for what? Increase in salaries. And it also provides for what? Decrease in salary. So what I heard the minister say is that there has been increases at the LSCC, at the GSC, and judges have also received what? Increases in salary. Now, when you look at the word reverse, which means to undo, it means that this law has not been undone because it has not gone through the legal process, the legislative process to either amend or not to amend. That has not happened. What the people have gotten is what? Pay raises. And if we're going by pay raises, then it means the law is still in force because the law provides for what? Pay raises and decreases in salary. So explain that for us, Mr. Minister.
Okay, so thank you. So when the minister referred to reversing harmonization, he is referring to reversing the negative impact of harmonization on real human beings, reversing the negative impact of harmonization on household. Because if harmonization, consider the portion, harmonization for the CDC government, consider the portion that said reduce salary, and they did, and another administration is increasing salary, there is a negative impact of the salary you were earning when that salary becomes lower. So is that negative impact we are reversing? And let me tell you this, government has one objective, we economists have one objective, to create welfare. Whatever you do is to create welfare. So if you can't cut post salary and say you did well, you're not doing well. So if we came and we are gradually doing that, and we are doing well. Look, I get better than saying, I send you reports. You know, if you lack the ability to speak to the issue, if you had it beyond, go read the report, go read it, we'll reference you and speak to the issue. That's the reason why when I came in, I told you the budget is there. You had 298, and they took it to 307 compensation. Then they reduced capital expenditure. What is that? The way you can create welfare for the state is to invest more in capital expenditure. That is a tangible way of investing in the people, of solving the issue of poverty. Even the bread and butter issue we talk about, that is the most tangible way of solving it, because when you build road, that road is for everybody. And we're not discriminating, whether you're from ANC or you're from UP or you're from where, that road is there for everybody. When you build school, it will affect everybody's life. When you invest in energy, it will affect everybody's life. So gradually, you're removing harmonization because you know money from people and keep it somewhere. That you will come and then you go for that money, you bring it back and redistribute. They employ more people, they could not manage it, and start cutting other people's salary. So when you come, like a lady at the Ministry of Finance asked me the other day, when are you removing harmonization? Or what do you mean? To pay our salary back. I said, but you are employed, George Biatan. Are you saying we fire you? We can't do that. We wouldn't chase Liberian because you were employed by the citizen administration. We had to find a way to solve it. It's a national issue. So what we are saying here, when the minister say we are removing or we are reversing harmonization, we are reversing the impact of harmonization. So if you are earning $1,000, the CDC is paying or pay you $300, we start paying you $1,000 or even $800. We are gradually removing it, but you will not go home with more money. Your take-home pay is now more than what you had when we took over. That's the issue of harmonization. To say we saw harmonization, you can say anywhere you want to say. Imagine we have engineers that say any around 300 from the Georgia government because they were not directors. And you made a director. So you got one engineer who went to school, got a master's degree. You are paying them $200-300. You brought somebody from under the sycamore tree that you made director, that you are paying $1,000, $2,000, and even at Ministry of Finance, all directors were not earning the same money. You know that they had a CDC payroll, that their secret payroll they had in our place. But we challenge you to talk.
Can I ask Mr. Yankwe?
Okay, so gentlemen, I'm sure we'll have to go 10 minutes after we'll have to.
Yes. We wrote fiscal audit report on commitment basis during the CDC time. Because to get actual cash report, it was difficult. But I can tell you from the government inception, we are writing fiscal audit report on a cash basis. Because actual cash records are available. We are reported up to the third quarter, the AID report. There is no PAPD report to find anywhere. Because they were just doing things their own way. Benene was the assistant minister for development planning. I challenge you to show us who can find the PAPD report. You can't find it anywhere. In talking about this report, that report. Where is the report, Benene? You said the report. You are naming that. You should have written the PAPD report. Where is it? We have published the third quarter AID report, and we launched it last year, January. That's the serious government. Then show us where your PAPD report. So, you were the minister at that time.
So you want me to respond to him?
Yes, quickly.
So Saba, if you go to your page, I send you the fiscal table of the 2023 budget. You know, Jesus. When we took over, he said the payroll was around 292, 297. Why he should be telling this public? What was the wage bill when we turned the administration over to them? Go to the 2023 budget that we submitted. I sent you the fiscal table. The wage bill was around $296 million. We ended the wage bill around $296 million. We ended consultancy around $6 million. Today, in the budget itself, the wage bill is $329 million. Then there is what we call additional compensation of $26 million. Mr. Kafan was denying that when we raised the issue, the total wage bill now is around $355 million per year as per the 2026 budget. So you cannot tell us CDC bloated the payroll when the wage bill came down and ended up with $297, $298 million. So that is not true. The other side is that, you know, what they are escaping is that they don't want to acknowledge that the harmonization is the good framework they are using to be able to build the civil service, because harmonization recommended that those who will be below their pay grade, incrementally, we should increase them, and that increment will be in the framework of the pay grade set by harmonization. So if you went to Ministry of Agriculture, for example, a director there supposed to be making, for example, county agriculture officer supposed to make 1,000 or 1,002, and they are still making 700, 800. If you add that money on their pay and carry them to 1,002, you are actually reinforcing harmonization. You are not reversing harmonization. So reversing harmonization means you will do everything. So I don't know what the language. So if you RDP, all you need to do is tell someone to the team and say, thank you. Even though harmonization was not perfect, but you establish a system, it is that system we are using. I challenge you, Moses. Let the minister, let the minister.
Gentlemen, we have to go.
Let me end on this.
Yeah,
let
one point.
Minister.
One point. One issue of the budget 2023. And you talk about wage bill.
Chief, you can wait.
And you know, there's a mistake you guys
wait for me. Wait for me. Wait for me. Wait for me. You have
to be you wait to check when. Who's speaking? Is it say Yankwe or is it Kolba speaking?
Kolba is speaking. Mr. Yankwe, let's Kolba just learn. Mr. Yankwe, let Kolba learn quickly.
At this point, I throw this as a challenge. If Minister Gafuan and his team say they are on the verge of reversing harmonization, let them reverse the standardization from Ministry of Finance, NRC, CSA, Ministry of Gender, and Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I can challenge you. If they do that today, the government will collapse.
Okay. All right. You made your statement already. Let's Minister Yankwe speak now. Mr. Benny Kolba, you made your statement already. You made your statement. It's not possible. Mr. Benny Kolba, you made your statement already. Let's hear from Mr. Yankwe. You have to go.
This is a political feature.
Yankwe, you coming?
Benny, come here. You know, Benny went to the 2023 budget and tried to sit the conversation line and compare it today. Benny, listen to me. When economists do analysis on figure in budget, they look at it in real term, not in nominal term. To look at 296 in 2023 and 392 in 2026 budget, and you did, you are not calculating well. When you do it in real term, you find a percent. How many percent? The budget in 2023 was 782.9. If you do the math, that is 37.9% compensation. So you're having a budget of 1.2 billion and you're having 329 million as compensation line. If you do the percent,
355.
It is 37.4%.
355.
Even at that, it's still lower than yours.
No,
so when IMF told
you see,
Bernard, give me a chance. Bernard, when it comes to calculation, you can't. Yeah, I'm a career mathematician. Don't go there when I want. I can look at the number and call the answer. Don't argue that one. So the IMF.
Me, I didn't go to school. I didn't go to school. I was tapping.
But you went there. You went there, but you're not economic.
We'll have to go. We'll have to go.
You guys are very interesting.
Benedict, you went to school, but you're not an economist. You gotta admit to that. If you're an economist, you're an economist by apprenticeship. I can call you economist because I'm one.
Okay. So listen, gentlemen, we'll have to take a parting comment from the both of you. So since you are speaking, Mr. Yankwe, you give your parting comment. And then that can be followed by Benedict Kolba. We'll have to go.
Yeah, so into our listening audience, we can tell you gradually when we've read the issue of harmonization, the impact of harmonization will be reversed. by even building roads to go to Southeast, where our people can have access to basic commodity, by buying buses, bringing back the whole insurance program. The police now got insurance program that we are paying. That is the issue of reversing harmonization. And we can safely say today that we have payroll system in this country. We had the past government keep embarrassed us with the issue of harmonization. They embarrassed homes. People had loans. People died from being harmonized because they were suffering. And gradually we solve that problem.
Okay.
And when
All
we
right.
do it,
So,
we do it in the public. Thank you.
okay, that's a parting comment. Mr. Benedict, call back quickly. Your parting comment?
So what I can say to you here today is that the Union Party government is deceiving the Liberian populace. If you look at the 2026 budget, the budget is at 1.2 billion. And the reason they did the budget at 1.2 billion, they put a windfall of 200 million and 210 million because something they talk about asset recovery is 210 million. That money will not come back in 2027. If you go to the projection, 2027 budget will come down to $1 billion. So if you move the windfall, the reason they put that windfall is to deceive the IMF that it is the budget they're taking percentage. If you remove that windfall and take $355 million of the budget, the wage bill is around 35% of the total budget that we have. That is a serious deception. I like to close to say to the Liberian people, the problem we solved, it was a problem created by Augustine Pehe Gafwan as director for the Budget Bureau. And moving to the Ministry of Finance, they didn't have a standard payroll system. They were paying people by their choices. They selected few government ministries at their darling. Nyankwe then was there making $3,250. Ministry of Gender. As a result, they were not able to pay all government ministries and agencies on the basis of that. Because they were not looking for money to do development. Only the UN was doing development. Listen to me, when the UN everybody left, the government had to come. So we actually solved the total problem. And they are now using that. They don't want to admit and give us credit.
Okay.
Harmonization, the day they reverse harmonization, that day the government will collapse. It is not possible to have
Thank you, Mr. Benedict Kolubat, and thank you also, Assistant Minister Henry Yankwe. We really appreciate both of you on the program tonight. And gentlemen, I want to say thank you. We hope to have you again on the program another time. Dave and the rest of the team, we want to thank you too. But I think they've gone. Dave, your take away quickly.
Well,
just in a few seconds.
My takeaway is that the two gentlemen, I mean, you know, they did extremely well. The fact that, you know, they had a debate, and the debate they had, I believe that the Liberian people are listening and let them determine who is telling the truth or who isn't telling the truth, who are playing politics out of this thing and who isn't playing politics out of it. And this is why we, and another thing I let it close on is so about that we have to carefully apportion the time for the guests so that we can give the audience chance to also be part of the discussion in terms of, you know, calling on the show. Maybe the audience can have questions and maybe grade the, you know, the guests.
Okay, Edwin.
Well, I sat very attentively and listened to the two guests, and I think Minister Koluba, in many instances, were just playing politics. And I can say that because we all live here during the whole process of the harmonization, we all know the story that was behind this harmonization. And it did not only affect directors in government, it affected almost everybody in the cycle of the governance structure. Even people who were making $300, $400, their salaries were harmonized. That's why you saw them when they went out there to vote. They said it. You harmonize our pay, we harmonize your vote. And he talks about the issue of those standard pay. That's not true. As early as 2006, the UNDP through the CSA, at that time was this guy called C. William Allen, who was running the CSA, started a process of structuring the government pay system. In fact, because the UNDP wanted to attract Liberians that were in the diaspora, they set up a special program where they were even compensating those Liberians to be able to come and work. So you can come to the free and say that there was no payroll system.
Okay.
The next thing he talks about development. In the 12th year of the Unity Party regime, the amount of development that Liberia saw, and you were here, almost all of the roads from ERWA to Broad Street was rebuilt. The road to Banga, the road to how to call it this, Bikiana, you know. So you can't come here and tell us that during the United Party led administration there was no development going on here. That's not true.
Okay.
And
let's hold you there. Let's hold you there. Moses, your takeaway quickly, just for 1 or 2 seconds. Your takeaway.
Yes, quickly, I would just like to say that, like all of you have said, it was indeed a great show. The both guests, spoke to the issue eloquently, and they supported the differing, stance on the matter. But what I would like to say is that increase in salaries, as pronounced by the Minister of Finance, that does not in any way mean that the act, the Harmonization Act, has been undone. No. If you read our law, it says there can be increases and there can be reduction in salaries. If the Minister of Finance says that, hey, we have started to reduce the financial hardship by making gradual increases in salary, it will sound better instead of saying that the ministry has reversed.
Moses,
yeah.
We'll discuss this tomorrow because we don't have time. But
yeah,
but the hardship you made reference to came about as a result of what?
Harmonization.
The harmonization.
I said we are reversing harmonization.
No, you said they have reversed. That's why you said they have reversed.
In simple terms, the minister is saying we are reversing, we are removing the hardship. That's just the actual message that the minister is trying to give. Because harmonization was brought about, hardship was brought about as a result of harmonization. So
no, but if you say you have reversed the law, that means that the law no longer exists. That's what the minister meant.
We have to go, Moses. Thank you very much.
It was a great show, somebody. It was indeed a great show. Thank you. Thanks to everybody.
For another edition of the program. Until then, Sabo George is my name.